tech my whole life. Thank you for setting the recording on, Arvind. Um, I I'm from the Palisades. I grew up there. I went to Pali High, and my parents continued to live there until January 7th. I spent most of my career at tech companies, Google and Etsy and Teachers Pay Teachers, and started working on some problems together with Arvind. And I'll let Arvind, you introduce yourself. He's my one of my co-founders here. Do you want to say
Hey
hi?
everyone, my name is Arvind. I've been an engineer and a product manager and started a couple of companies as well. And yeah, last year I got back together with Adam. We worked together a couple of years ago at another education startup. We got back together last year and just started building tools to help folks rebuild after the fires.
And then Hale, and then we have another friend on our team, Harel. He's going to say hello too. Sorry if I left you off the list, Harel. Don't take it personally. Hale, do you want to say hi? Are you on?
Sure, yeah. Great to meet everybody. Thank you for joining us. Hale Everetts, I am a close friend of Adam's here in Brooklyn, New York, and I am an architect and work in construction. And I've been supporting the effort developing features to help people get into their homes when they start rebuilding, which is a separate topic.
Yeah,
Nice
well,
to meet you.
we have some other tools we'll talk about in another webinar. And then Harel, you want to say hello?
Yeah, sure. No worries about leaving me off. I'm the newest team member, joined 3 months ago, helping out with the product and engineering. Similar to Arvin, have a background in product manager at Microsoft, a product manager at Compass Real Estate. So yeah, super excited to be here.
Thanks, Harel. And then Annie Barber, we're so excited to welcome you. Annie is a survivor herself. She is a survivor of the Tubbs fire in 2017 in Santa Rosa and has been working as an advocate at United Policyholders. And if you haven't experienced United Policyholders yet, they're extraordinary. They've done such incredible work. Could you introduce yourself, Annie? And you're going to give us some wonderful tips today.
Thank you. Annie Barber, as he said, Tubbs fire survivor. Now I work for United Policyholders. Unfortunately, I learned so much during our recovery. We had started a grassroots effort of Coffee Strong to take care of our neighbors in Coffee Park after we had our loss. And we've just kind of ballooned from there. So I am the person who gets to bring real life experience and feelings and challenges to the insurance aspect of all this.
Thanks, Annie. And my mom and dad, my heroes in this, in our little version of the story. I thought you could say hi. You've been on some of the videos and things. So how you doing?
Hello. Hi, we're here.
All right, calling in from your new rental in Santa
Mhm.
Monica.
Right.
All right, we'll dive into the content now. So Bevel got started because my parents' house, the house that I grew up in, burned down near the high school. And we realized shortly after that we had to figure out how to remember everything that had been in the house, all the memories, all the fun, all the joy. And my parents started these lists on yellow pads. And Arvind and I thought, there's got to be a way we can build something better. So that was what became Hello Buildable and then now Bevel. And our goal was just to create a pathway out of the horrible. And I wanted before we go further into the tips, just share a few things that are, I think, important for us all to remember. These are tools and advice to help you do the best you can, but you know your items better than anyone else. We're not lawyers, we can't give legal advice, we're not public adjusters, and we can't negotiate on your behalf. We're just trying to help make this journey easier and share the learnings we have had from our fire and from other fires and from experts. So in that spirit, let's move forward. And I'm going to hand it over to Annie to talk to a little bit about what is coverage C? What is personal property coverage?
Yeah. And so I'm going to start off with your first steps. Most of you that I run into, I was just there for the Rebuild Expo trade show. You are walking around with your policy on your phone. Please, if you do not have a printer, tell them you want 2 copies printed and mailed to you. You are entitled to that. One to put notes on and one to keep clean in case you need anybody to check it. You want to be able to have clear notes on one and be able to read the other one very well. So that's first and foremost. The second thing is you have the right to ask your adjuster to tell you all the coverage that you have in your policy and ask them how you can capture it. That is your right in California. all of these things that are in your house, if you were to take the lid off, just like he says, and turn it upside down and shake it, all those things that fall out are your contents. Do not forget sheds, garages, anything that you have outside.
Great.
So I think that the biggest thing is understanding your policy. And when you look at your policy and you're asking your agent, that's where that printed copy is so important for you to be able to take your notes. You are not going to remember everything. These are written by attorneys, and it gets a little complicated. So what things are in there, what are excluded, what have caps on them. You know, you may have just X amount on guns, money, jewelry. You may have an endorsement that expands that. Ask them to explain all of that to you. They are legally required to. The difference between actual cash value policy and a replacement cost value is huge. Most people nowadays have the replacement cost value. The difference between the two is that the actual cash value would be what somebody would have paid for that item the day before the fire. When you're talking about the replacement cost value, you're very much talking about looking up that item, what it costs today. Now, both of those, they will depreciate, but you're going to start off with a much higher dollar figure on the replacement cost value. So check your policy, see which one you have, because that's very important. You
Great.
have 24 months, up to 24 months to submit your contents list. You will have your adjusters pushing you. They were pushing week 2, week 3. Get your list in, get your list in. Your job is simply to work with your adjuster. Tell them where you are. Let them know. They love to say they just want to see forward movement. That's part of their wording. You have to show them that you're making some sort of forward movement. And you want that list to go in early. You don't want to wait the whole 24 months, because you're going to want to go and nitpick through that list and see how much they depreciated things. And if you have a blanket depreciation of 40% on everything, you need to send that back to them. They're not allowed to do that. Each item should have their own depreciation value, and you can ask them what that is. The biggest driving force when you're making this list is not, you're capturing the brand, you're capturing the age, but it's the condition. You may have a couch in your family room and a couch in your formal living room, and both may be 10 years old, but the couch in the formal living room is going to be in excellent condition because you only use it 3 times a year. It's not the one that the kids and the dog are laying on. So you really have to make sure that you share that with them so that they don't over depreciate.
And can I add in, as we talk about the tool, Annie, the more detail I enter the item details into in our tool, the more likely you'll get a value that more or less closely correlates to what you're likely to find on the market. So specificity matters for both reasons, right?
Yep,
And
absolutely.
that condition really matters, yeah.
Yeah, the condition is vital. If you have, for guys, if you have a nice suit that you wear only on special occasions, that has not depreciated much, and it doesn't even matter if it fits you or not. So remember that. That's important. You have it, you get compensated for it. Whether you purchase something at a garage sale or you purchase something at an estate sale or at a store, it's irrelevant. It's what the value of that item is. And also, you can group things. But if you do group things, please make sure if a man has 12 t-shirts and 4 of them he's gotten in the last 6 months, those are in excellent condition. 4 may be in above average, and 4 may be, But really, anything that you have kept is not below average. Those are the things you've already donated, gotten rid of. And it's just really important that you're capturing it as best you can so that you get the right evaluation. Books, measure a bookcase. How many average books will go on that bookcase? Hardbound, soft, whatever that paperback, whatever that looks like, you can bundle those and say, on average, it's this price, and on average, this is how many per shelf. But if you do have some higher end, make sure you individually capture those and their cost. And antiques, art, and unique items cannot be depreciated. Now, you have to show that they are antique or unique. And sometimes that's capturing, who created that art piece, how long ago, what's the value now. Antiques, it doesn't matter whether you are utilizing it on a regular basis and it's in so-so condition or pristine condition, it should hold its value. And I think that covers a lot of that.
That's great. The only thing I added on here, which I think you've alluded to, is I say dish towels, toilet paper, and plastic forks matter.
Yep.
All those little things add up. $1 here, $2 there, $3 there. They're
Yes.
things you paid for.
I don't know how much you guys have done of this, but what we used to recommend up until today was to go into Target and scan everything that you had, all that little stuff, because that adds up really quick when you're talking about all the stuff in your desk drawers, school supplies, Rubbermaid containers, cleaning supplies, spices. So just know that you want to capture all of it.
That's really helpful. So we thought at this point we would switch over to a demo, and I know some great questions are coming in, and we will get to them. We're very excited, and it's a big crowd, so that there'll be a lot of questions. Arvind is going to take over the screen share now. I'm going to release it back, and Arvind, who built the first version of the bevel tool in a cafe while waiting for his wife to come out of an appointment, I think. It's come a long way, and you'll walk us through where we are.
Great. So you can find the inventory app at inventory.bevelmade.com, and we can share that link out. When you come here, you'll notice that the app is organized by room.
I'm not seeing the screen share. Are other people seeing the screen share?
I am.
You are. Okay, great. I'm glad it's just me. I'll find it.
So when you get into the app, you'll notice that it's organized by rooms. And we designed it that way because we realized for most of you, as you're thinking about the list of items, you're mentally going room by room. But even when you do that, it's really difficult to even know where to start. It's a really overwhelming process. So one of the things that we wanted to do was just make it easy to get started. So you'll notice that within each of these rooms, you see these pills for easily forgotten items. And you can just start tapping those to add them to your list. And it's smart. So as you add more items, it'll suggest more additional items that you might have had based on what you've already added. And every time you add an item, our AI will go and get a price, an estimated price for that item. But we always recommend you come in and adjust that price based on the specifics of your item. So that's adding an item. As we worked on this for a couple of weeks, we got feedback that people often had images of their home and the items in their home. So we built an image and video analysis feature. And the way this works is you just dump in any photos or videos that you might have had of your home. And it doesn't matter if they're messy, if there's people in them. It really, any photos that show your items would work. And what our AI will do is it'll go through all of that content and it'll identify the items that are in there. If it can find out the brand and model, like in this case, there's an HD projector, so it got the brand and model there as well as the price. So the idea here is just to take something that would normally take maybe hours and make it super easy for you to just upload photos you have lying around and start creating your list that way. And it'll even get small things like the mug, so you don't lose those small items that really do make a difference in the end. The other thing that we added in the last couple of weeks is a receipt scanning feature. So what this will do is if you have receipts lying around of items you might have purchased, you can upload that receipt, and I'll show you what those images look like in 1 second. And it'll extract out the items from those receipts as well. And so if you click this button, you can pop open the receipt, and you have it in the app for you to reference. And likewise for any images or videos that you upload, they're all available in the app. The last thing I want to show is the export, but the spreadsheet that we export. But Adam or Annie, anything you want to add on this?
Arvin, just I see a number of questions. Somebody's asking if you can demonstrate the video upload again.
Oh, sure, yeah. Sorry, I can't see the questions when I'm doing the screen share, but basically, I'm not sure if you can see my window where I'm selecting a video, but once I select it, you'll see that it pops up here. Right now, it's processing that video, and as it processes, it'll add the items from that video into the list.
One tip I'd add in there is we've heard from some people that depending on how you've stored your photos, it's sometimes easier to do it from the phone. So you can just log in your browser, Safari or Chrome in the phone, and then that'll take you right to your Android photos or your iPhotos, and you can upload right out of there the videos, the photos, multiple photos at a time. Don't do more than 10-ish, I would say, at a time, but that should be fine.
And then to the point around, making sure you include the condition and the age. These are relatively new features that we added as well, where you can come in and if something is new, you can set new, and that'll get stored against the item, and that'll be exported to our spreadsheet as well. So let me show that spreadsheet real quick.
And I'd like to add here, I put it in the chat, but you do not have to do an entire list at once before you submit. And that's really important. This is an emotional challenge at best. So doing it room by room like it's set up can be a lot easier. Sometimes it's each person taking a different area, whatever that looks like for you. Just write partial list on the bottom and the date, and make sure you make a copy before you submit.
Yeah. So here's the spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet has a summary tab of all your items, and then you can also go tab by room. But yeah, the thing I wanted to call out here is you have all the details that are in the app in the spreadsheet as well for your insurance company to see, including the image. So if they just click this link that says open image, they'll be able to see that image you uploaded.
And someone asked a really good question I saw in the chat, which was who can see the images that you upload? And the answer is if it's in the app, you can see it, anyone who logs in on your account, and our team can see it, and that's it. If you download it into the spreadsheet, it will become available as a link to that image. None of the other context will be. So if that's a concern to you, we can talk to you separately about strategies for that. But that's a really good question, and it's important to understand, where are the privacy lines. We also don't sell or share the data. So I hope that's helpful. Shall we go back to let me go back to the deck. See if it'll let me do this now. Here we go. And we're going to talk through a few more tips. Hopefully those were some new features that if you hadn't had a chance to use them, that will make things a bit easier. So now let's talk about, I'm just going to review some of the key points and I'll go through these really quickly. You can upload images, you can upload videos, you can upload receipts. Arvind, I saw in the chat someone also asked if they could upload an online receipt. Like is there a way to get an online receipt? And right now you would just take a picture of it, right?
Yeah, or you download it as an image or a PDF and you can upload it, and it should still work.
Great. And then, so don't forget to upload receipts if they're important to you. The aging information, again, very easy to do. Just click into every item and you tell us you list what condition it is. And you'll notice that the wording includes antiques as an option as that flag that, hey, this is not going to get depreciated. And also the aging you can put in there. Remember to check the valuation that the AI comes back with. It's been pretty good, but you can't rely on it. You know your item best. Do your own research and be ready to be in a conversation with the adjuster about it. But that's the number you want to feel comfortable with. So please use the number that the system generates as a guide. And that's me saying the same thing again. Double check it. We've been very happy that it's been getting more accurate, but you don't want to take a risk. There's a little funny feature because you all took the time to come on the webinar. We'll share it with you. I think if Arvin, I think a couple people actually unmuted. So okay.
I'll take care of it.
Okay, great. If you click on the side next to the button, next to each item, you can actually click an emoji. So if your coffee table was made you think of ice cubes, you can you put a happy emoji, whatever you want. Just a fun thing to keep it a little more lively. You may have noticed there are balloons, but we'll let you figure out what makes you deserve a balloon. Um, you can move items from room to room now. Some of you asked that. You had built very long lists in one room and wanted to break it into other rooms, or you wanted to create specialty rooms. That's pretty easy to do now. So you can move the items from room to room. And then this is the export feature. Again, just a reminder that if you want to download it as a spreadsheet, that's available to you. This is where the image link will be available in the spreadsheet. And again, if you wanted to submit this to your insurance without the spreadsheet, just go through without the images available, just go into the spreadsheet and delete that column. It'll go away. Few more tips and tricks. Understand your exclusions. We've had a couple people talk to us about thinking that they couldn't report any of their jewelry, but it turned out they had exclusions for burglary, but not necessarily for fire. So any additions you want to make about knowing your exclusions, Annie?
Yeah, once again, go rely on your adjuster. They legally are required to tell you and to walk you through that policy. Ask them if you have any endorsements. Ask them if you have exclusions where, it's a limit on something. And make sure that every conversation you have with that adjuster, you follow up with an email recap saying, I talked to this person on this date and this is what I heard you say. That is your paper trail.
Great. That's part of the negotiation we were talking about. And if you could just at a high level, even Annie, just let us what I hear from you is that we should expect this to be a series of conversations over a period of time, and that we have a right up to 24 months to stay in that conversation with the adjuster. Am I hearing that right?
Absolutely. And if there's any delays, so as you're capturing these recaps in email form, if there's delays because of your adjuster, that can be used as a tool to extend your time frame on these type of things. So if they fell down on, if you have someone in the chat said they had 6 adjusters already, that can be chronicled as a delay because each time you have to go back to the start. I also will share with you that under California claim rules, you are only allowed to have 3 adjusters. And at that point, you can ask for 1 point of contact.
That's a great tip because we've certainly heard from some insurance companies that were overwhelmed. There are so many adjusters coming through. How about this one? This is another one. So we've heard about people getting a lot of pressure to use the form they get from their insurance company.
Again, California insurance code is very straightforward. And if you just say it's in the California insurance code that I can use whatever works best for me, and so this is how I'd like to do it, that should be enough.
That's great. Okay, so we will stop presenting at you. I will stop the share, and I will just say, I'm going to put this slide up actually while we're taking questions because some of you will want to know how to get more information from Annie's organization. If you go to UP Help, United Policyholders Help.org, there's great information there. And if you haven't used the tool, inventory.bevelmade is there. And then on Bevelmade, on the Bevel tool, there's a WhatsApp group. And if some of you want to join into a more active conversation to ask us questions or to just ask each other questions and support each other, feel free to join in. We are a community. We are in this together. We will get through it together. So with that, as we help get each other home again, I am going to stop the share and let the questions continue. Arvin, do you want to read some out? That may be most efficient because I think we're at a pretty high number of folks on the Zoom right now.
Sounds good. Let me start at the top. Joan had a question. I thought contents were Schedule B.
Yeah, that
No.
different. Oh, sorry, that's it. Annie, you take that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So I believe it's State Farm has them as B, but it would be contents or personal property. Whatever it shows in that bucket or that category.
That's great. Thank you. Good catch on that. Sorry about that. I will change the wording next time I do this.
I think we already talked about antique furniture, right?
Yep.
Great. My insurance company, AAA, wants us to use their spreadsheet to itemize. Do I have to use their form and not yours?
No, you do not. You can use whatever you're most comfortable with, as long as you tick all the boxes for age and condition.
Great. Maybe take a break here. I think somebody raised their hand.
Sure. Go ahead.
Actually, maybe it's gone. I thought I saw it earlier.
Okay. A few people have asked for it.
Actually, Marjan. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Hi there. I'm Marjan. I wanted to just thank you for putting this together, putting the tool together. I was in tears every time I was sitting to put my inventory together. It's been really, really difficult. And when I saw this tool and the ability to upload pictures, I think that you've really made this unbearable process more bearable. So I really want to express my gratitude to you for coming up with this application. It's truly been a lifesaver. And when I talk to my friends who didn't have this application, and I later on told them about it, I felt that I was just so lucky to have come across this chat where you guys announced this and found it and used it. So thank you for that. The question I wanted to ask was what Annie mentioned regarding the 3 adjusters. So I'm on my 4th adjuster. Annie, I just want to make sure I understood your statement correctly. So if it's beyond the 3rd one, we can ask them from now on for just a single rep. Is that correct?
Yes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the California insurance claim rules in the chat so that you guys can capture that, because you all have different issues that are going on that it would really benefit you to be able to capture this.
Great. Thank you so much.
Great. Should I pick up, Arvin, do you want to pick up the questions?
The next question is, how is it depreciation percentage determined?
So that is determined by your insurance company. And so that would be something you can ask your adjuster. What do they use to determine it? Is there a certain program? And as I said, across the board, they are not allowed to do, a 40% on everything. They have to actually go through item to item. So if they do something like that, then that's something that needs to be called out and challenged.
Got it. All right. And then the next question from Lori, does the adjuster then download the items from Bevel into their program? We've talked to a couple insurance companies, and I think they do something like that. But the spreadsheet is a pretty standard format that most insurance companies can work with.
Yeah, and we don't have a way for them to log into the tool or get access to your data. So right now, your best way to share it is you download the spreadsheet and you share that over to them, and then you discuss back and forth in the spreadsheet. Yeah.
All right, next question from Nancy. Our 6th Street farm adjuster told us we needed to use their program and that we should submit it all at once. What is our responsibility?
Your responsibility is to work on the list to show your adjuster you're making forward progress, and that you have, because this is a declared disaster, you have up to 4 years, or I'm sorry, up to 2 years to capture this. Now, you don't want to wait quite that much time, because you do not want to, you want to have time to actually be able to go back through the list. But you just need to clarify to them that you know what the rules are.
I think we've seen, Annie, in a few cases that, people either just through bad luck or whatever's going on at the company are just getting really tough runaround situations. Is there a strategy you can use? Because I know often in these bigger companies, you you just get bounced from like one toll-free number to another toll-free
Yep,
number, and you just feel like a piece of meat on a hook. So,
absolutely.
so is there a way to kind of escalate or any recommendations on that?
So if you're not getting, if you have, we call it polite assertiveness. Nobody wants to get dumped on, and you probably won't get treated better doing it that way. So you're going to make that request. You're going to follow it up in an email format. You're going to make the request again. And if you can't get results, you're going to climb the ladder. You're going to ask for a supervisor. And if you're still stuck, you're going to file for a complaint with the Department of Insurance. And, just be you have to have that paper trail to show them that you have made a conscious effort to get this resolved and that they're not moving on it.
Someone asked a question about food. Are non-perishables included? Or perishables
Yes.
included? Or not
Everything you had
perishable
in
food?
everything you had in your house. You bought it, you owned it, it's yours. Yeah, capture it.
Um, my adjuster told me I have only 1 year to file for personal items.
So take a look at that insurance claim rules, print it up, and utilize that to discuss it. You can refer to the law, to the rule number. You can send the whole, just copy and paste and say, this is what my knowledge is.
So for replacement value policies, do you have to show a receipt? I guess some people are getting the pressure to show the receipt for everything, which is probably not possible.
So there are a ton of insurers who've been asking from day one for your receipts. And obviously they were in your house. I'm a bit sarcastic, so when they asked me the second time, I asked them if I should take a little baggie to my property and get them some ash. And he kind of laughed and said, no, probably not. But, you're just making your best effort. Costco, Amazon, they keep copies of your receipts for years, your credit card. Do what you can, submit it and say, this is what I have. This is what I have access to. You're just showing that you're doing what they're asking to the best of your ability. Now, for replacement value, we're talking about something else. So when you have replacement value in your policy, once they capture the depreciated price, so let's say that couch that you had in your living or your family room, that they've depreciated to $200, and you go and you replace that, and that couch is now $1,500. So initially, they're going to give you the 200 that they've depreciated it to. When you send that receipt in, then you capture the extra 1,300. So those you do need receipts for.
Great. I'm going to jump around a little bit. Arvin, does the app allow us to put a link to support the replacement cost price of the item?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we've gotten this feedback in the past as well. Currently, no, but it is something that we've thought about. So yeah, we're happy to keep thinking on that one, see if there's a way to add that in.
We'll see if we can work on that. We just got 3 people independently in the last like 2 or 3 days came with that. So great one. We'll see if we can figure that out. Um, do there were a few questions about the AI model, which it sounds like people are getting resolved. But we're happy to answer those kinds of technical questions too. And then someone just asked, what if I have questions just generally about the app? And there's the WhatsApp group. You'll find the link on the app itself. If you look up at the top, feel free to join it. And always you can email us at info@bevelmade.com. We're very happy to jump in and try and help out.
And on the WhatsApp group, what's the name of it?
It's
Bevel?
it's called Bevel, but there's a
Okay.
link. There's a link to it, and it's if we can send it out afterward if people are having trouble,
Perfect.
you can always just email us and we'll send it to you. Um, I'm just looking through. Does anyone else want to ask anything live and in person, or shall I just go through? I think we've got a lot of things we've generally responded to, so. Someone wrote, be wary of help from adjusters. Mine suggested claiming $1,500 for lost food, but when I thought about it, I realized that was way too low. So, right, that comes back, I guess, to that question of ultimately, you know what your things were worth and what you spent, right? Standing home hasn't, oh yes, Beverly, go ahead. I see you.
Um, Actually, I have a few questions. One of them is, what do you do with evaluating items that I'm worried they're going to say are worth nothing? I have 40 years of travel journals, handwritten travel journals. I have binders of recipes that I've gotten from the family. I have shadow boxes filled with displayed with my children's baby shoes and sports awards and things like that. How do you value things like that?
I'm going to take this one and you're not going to like the answer. They do not put a dollar figure on sentimental items. You know, so unfortunately, the only part of that you can capture is like the container that you had the recipes in, and the shadow box that your child's baby shoes were in. And it's not the answer you want to hear. It's a tough one. But that's how it works out.
Okay, that's what I feared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked, their house was not burned down, but has harmful toxins and lead throughout. Can I still include hard items that can be wiped down, including paper towel holders, silverware containers, cooking tools, things like that?
Generally, that is up to your remediation company. They determine what is salvageable and what is non-salvageable. The items that can be cleaned that do not absorb the toxins usually are salvageable. You know, if you had a special consideration you wanted them to take for something that you thought wasn't going to be completely cleanable, that would be something you'd want to talk to your adjuster about.
Oh, I have another question.
Go ahead, Beverly.
I've got really bogged down with doing my inventory, and I realized it was because of, for one thing, having a huge library. So I decided that I would actually create a database and list as many of those books as I thought I could remember. And I figured I had 1,000. I'm up to 1,500 now. And I took that because once you remember one, you remember another. And then I realized that with 3 kids, sporting goods was another. So I did it not by room, but by subject. And once you do sporting goods, you think, okay, I got all the baseball stuff. What else did they play? And then you can go through and get just so much stuff. And the fact is that it was all over the house. So if I went room by room, I would never have remembered it.
That's a great point, Beverly. I'm so glad you said it. We did the same thing. My dad and I were trying to think about my parents are incredible hobbyists. My mom is an incredible artist, and so we made like a fishing room, but there was no fishing room in the house. And we made, we could make an art room, but there was no art room in the house. So that's a great tip to think about categories that be a crosscut, not the exact floor plan of your house. Those rooms are a soft idea that you can use any way that is helpful for you. And then just do remember too that you're trying to build that full list. So look at those suggestions that'll show up in the tool, those easily forgotten items, You write coffee table and we'll say, did you have coasters? Did you have coffee table books? Did you have candles? Did you have candle holders? All those things add up. One question that I think has shown up in sort of subtle ways, and I'm going to ask in an unsubtle way, Annie, and hope that you is
Yeah.
so if I have a policy that lets me have up to, let's say, $150,000 max, do I need to work to get my number over that number? And I'm not talking about
Absolutely.
fraud. I'm talking about
No.
but
You don't want to stop capturing what you had at that point. You want to go over because they will depreciate, and they'll depreciate things at different levels. So make sure you go over that, and that you're not saying that's your final list. It's a partial list. I'm 8 years out from my fire. We have a joke in Coffee Park about, I was at somewhere and I noticed something that I hadn't put on my list. This is not something that's one and done.
right. A couple of other things have come up. People have said sometimes the app is getting the price a little bit low or a little bit high. Yes, please check that. Like you know the value of your item. Please go in there and manually edit that. That's available on every single one.
And you're going to find that as you're looking through things that you're not going to find exactly what you had. The insurance industry utilizes the term like and kind. So that's in your brain, that's where you go of something that's similar.
Someone asked about fine art. I'm sure there was a lot of fine art. How does
Yeah.
that get treated?
So it can't be depreciated, but it could be an exclusion on your or captured as, a cap on it. So do you have an endorsement? And what is that? How high does that go? So I really would like you to make sure that you talk to your adjuster about exactly what's in your policy. We also have on our website a how to read and understand your policy webinar that's recorded, which I can put in the chat that may help you to understand your policy a little bit better.
And someone wrote Kristen wrote, we have a standing home and our insurer recommends discarding a majority of our personal property. Any thoughts on whether we should, not our IH, I'm not sure what IH stands for there.
Industrial hygienist.
Oh, you know that. Okay. Our industrial hygienist recommends discarding a majority of our personal property. Any thoughts on whether we should use a contents management service to remove, photograph, itemize, and price the contents? Does the cost for that kind of a service come out of our policy limit? And how much of the work would we still need to do ourselves? I've already started, but I'm only 5 to 10% done.
It generally comes, you should ask your adjuster if that's something that you can utilize and that they would pay for, but in most cases that would come out of your pocket. So it just depends on whether you think you have enough wiggle room that you're going to get enough money to make that worth your while.
Okay, now I just got one that says changes have been made to my account.
There's somebody, we're going to have to figure out who's unmuted.
Okay.
But thank you for that.
I just want to.
Is it Beverly? Okay.
We have a question from Amy. She's raising her hand. Go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, I have a couple things. What do you do regarding clothing? I'm one of those pack rats that never got rid of anything. So, A to Z, there's a ton of clothing.
You're going to want to capture it as best you can.
But I
So
mean, categorize
you can group things,
Very
but
good.
the way you're going to get the most money is if you break those groups up. So you don't want to, as I was referring to like the men's t-shirts, if you were to take all 12 of those t-shirts or whatever I said, I can't remember, and put them in one bucket, they're going to get all depreciated at the same rate. If you have dresses you've only worn once and you have 5 of those, you're going to want to break those off from the dresses you've worn every summer because they're going to have a different, and if you go through and you say that everything you have is in excellent condition, you're going to get earmarked where they're going to do a deep dive, because basically that's saying you've bought everything that you had in the last couple years. And insurance companies, they'll start picking that apart a little bit.
Okay, and then I just want to verify, with the antiques, you said the condition does not matter? I mean, like,
Condition does not matter.
okay, so don't fill it in?
It's an antique, it cannot be depreciated.
Okay, and last thing is, when you said endorsement, could you explain what you mean by that?
In your policy, you may have some endorsements, you'll have some exclusions and limitations that whether it's, so like cash is only usually covered up to a certain amount, say 1,500. Fine jewelry may have a limit. You want to just find out whether you had broadened that category and captured an endorsement to extend that to a higher amount. And again, you can ask that of your adjuster. You also want that piece, that policy in front of you and say, where is that in my policy? So you can make a note. And then again, I can't say this enough. Follow up with an email recapping the conversation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Someone asked Arvind if we could upload, if people could upload a list of Amazon purchases.
Yeah, I respond to that, but yeah, that should work. As long as it's a PDF or an image, you can upload really any kind of receipt and it should work.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. I
So
hope
you
this
do
is.
have, Adam, you do have Veronica who was wanting to raise their hand. They've
Oh,
raised
I'm
it.
sorry, Veronica, I didn't see you. Yeah, please.
So I was curious, after you follow up with the email that restates the conversation as you heard it, you need them to then, you ask them then, please confirm this is your understanding as well, or something like that, or do you just need to put it out there that that's how you heard it?
Good question.
You can do it either way. If you want a response, the Department of Insurance says you should ask for a response. So if you're asking them, a time frame or something that has a different impact, then you do want to make that ask. If you're just recapping what you heard, if they do not dispute it, if they do not respond, that stands.
So if they don't dispute it, it stands as I wrote it.
Yep.
Okay.
I think Christopher had a question, and then we'll come back to you, Beverly.
Yeah.
All right.
So I used the bevel list and it was really nice. When I turn it in, it keeps getting pushback from State Farm because it's not in their format. Is there an easy way to get it into their format?
Are they telling you what they're saying the issue?
Yeah, it's mainly the dates. They want specific time ranges, and in the bevel, it's more condition, and they want date ranges.
There's
And
actually there. So next to condition, and depending on when you joined the app, this feature may not have been available, but we do have a
I saw
number
it
of years.
updated after yeah.
So you should be able to go through and just tag, if you
Just
take the
update it.
items, just go tag them all. And I'm
Okay.
sorry that it wasn't there before, but hopefully, would that help?
Yeah, I did see it, and I'll go back and do that. And then when I export it, it's been hard to get it into they have an older Excel format, and when I export it, it exports. And so now I've had to find an app to try to downgrade it or however. It was a hassle, and it kept denying me upload. So that's just another one of these, I have to try to find a workaround for that.
Oof.
So you can also, if, push comes to shove, print it, send it in to them. Let them figure it out.
Okay. Thank you.
I was going to say, you can also PDF it, right? You could PDF it if that is
perfect.
Yeah. Paul, and then Beverly, I think you had a question as well. Paul, you're muted still, I think.
Here I am, not muted. Thanks
Okay.
for doing this. It's a great app. My question is if I'm with California Fair Plan, I'm involved in some litigation, upcoming and ongoing, and my concern is that if this spreadsheet is presented as a document in a court case, and one is asked, how did you generate this inventory list? And the response is from an app, as opposed to a human being standing in your house, checking off all the items that are being taken out to either be disposed of or remediated. Do you anticipate some pushback? It may be a hard question for you to answer now, but I would anticipate in a legal fight that somebody says, well, this isn't valid because it was done on an app with photographs.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
That's a lawyer question,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Which I'm going to ask.
Yeah, but and please feel free to share back. If you learn anything that would be helpful to the community, feel free to share it back. We'd love to know.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Is there anyone else who has not? Yeah, go ahead, Beverly.
Just to add to something that Annie said, as far as knowing your limits, like for instance, on jewelry, what my CPA told me was list everything regardless of it, because there's one thing about the insurance, but the other thing about remembering, and you can claim loss on your taxes. So as long as you're going through and thinking, oh yeah, I had this necklace and that necklace, but I'm already at my limit, put it down anyway, then you have it on the list.
What a great tip. That's great.
Is there
All
a
right.
difference between a sub-zero refrigerator being counted part as a dwelling versus a dishwasher, which counts as personal property?
That will be up to your insurance company. Those are a couple of the items that kind of goes back and forth. And you have to have that conversation with them.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I think this is
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, yeah.
Adam, I was wondering, are light bulbs considered content or, okay,
Absolutely.
all right.
Wow.
It's
Thank you.
really about that completeness of the list, right? And let me ask you a question, Annie. I think when people have doubts on these edge cases and they're not sure, would your advice be just put it in the spreadsheet? They can always say no.
Absolutely. The only thing I'm going to advise against doing is do not create any insurance fraud with these lists, okay? And it doesn't take much. So if you didn't have something, don't pad the list. I've already come upon some people who did that, and I get it. You know, you've lost everything, and this is really difficult. It's traumatic, and you just want every dollar. Most people are underinsured, but just be very cautious.
I think that's really great. And I think that's also just an important point that, these tools that we've built at Bevel are what we call human in the loop tools. And that means you need a human to operate them. These are ways of speeding up the process, but it's your judgment that matters. You know your items, you know what you have, you know what they should be valued at. So trust yourself and your research first and foremost.
And you also, it's always great to get together with people and share your list, because quite frankly, they're going to think of things you're not going to. Grab a glass of wine, print up a certain room, share to each other. Not only are you creating community, but you're lessening the pain of all of this, because this is very painful.
That's a great idea. And if people want to do that, we can have you feel free to jump in the WhatsApp group and pair up. Ask each other what area you're staying in right now. Maybe some people in Santa Monica or some in Pasadena or some wherever else would love to, get together and do some list sharing and some commiserating and some remembering. All right. Well, I will take that pause. It's almost our time is almost up. Thank you so much. I know there were people that couldn't get in, and so we will try to make this. We will make this recording available, and just thank you. We'll all get through this somehow together. What a horrible experience, but we'll find solidarity and friendship along the way, right?
Thank you.
And a huge thanks to you, Annie, for taking your time and sharing your expertise and having turned your pain into something that we can all really learn from and with.
Thank you. I couldn't be doing better work.
Thanks, Annie. Your demeanor is so reassuring and helpful. I really want to acknowledge you for that. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. See you on WhatsApp.